Magneto, Master of Metal. That's Master of Magnetism, bub. Oh, that does make more sense. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the... Yeah, I'm doing it. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Kaiyodo Amazing Yamaguchi Magneto. Now, a while back, when the news broke for Magneto, I said it would be a perfect counterpart for Wolverine. It's enemy of the X-Men, it's master of magnetism against the dude with metal on his bones. And then a lot of you came back and said, hey, dumbass, what about Sabretooth? And I thought, well, shit. Yes, Sabretooth would be a better counterpart for Wolverine and would go perfectly in this line, you know, big, bulky, crouched down. Even though I don't like Venom a lot, and Sabretooth would probably remind me of that Venom. It immediately made me regret saying that, but Magneto is still a dynamic character, especially with the cape and his costume and the whole metal gimmick. Now, looking at the package, this is what we're used to with this line, just craziness all over. They don't miss anything with the graphics. Every inch is covered by something interesting to look at, almost too much. It's kind of crazy. In fact, well, I don't know, it's kind of genius actually. Everything is so muddled in the graphics that your eye is almost automatically drawn to the figure. On the side, we get a promotional shot of Magneto, logos, names. Bleh. On the back, that craziness continues with all kinds of promotional shots, action poses, different stuff that comes with the figure. Those magnets are strong enough to do that with paper clips all the way across there. That's going to be interesting to see. Down here's the warnings. The unreadables probably says something like, do not leave next to your computer hard drive or your phone or your TV. Do TVs still do that? With the whole, if you put a magnet next to it, it discolors it, or I don't know. On the other end, you get that pixely look, that old-timey boxing poster type situation going on. On the top, more Magneto, more purple lightning. That's weird. On the bottom, a lot more warnings, a lot more unreadables. Another picture with more X-Men. I'd like to see more X-Men in this line. And then the UPC, your winning lottery number. But I'm going to get this open and see if I'm either going to be happy with this or incredibly super frustrated. Opening up the box, you actually get some ACBA type stuff. You get a cutout for a word bubble, I am Magneto. On the other flap, just a graphic of Magneto. On this end, you get him in his white costume. It's weird that they're throwing other costumes in there that you don't actually get on the figure, but whatever. And then another word bubble says, this is my home. A little bit vague, could be used for anybody, but it's extra. I'm not going to grow up. And then the background for it behind the actual tray, you get this nice graphic. A lot of Cyclops in these pictures. I wouldn't turn down an Amazing Yamaguchi Cyclops. If you're listening out there, Kaiyodo, somebody. Oh, looking at the instructions, it shows the magnet thing again with all the paper clips. But right here, it's interesting, and I noticed it when I opened it up. You can see right there, there's a bunch of extra joints. Some of them are double dumbbell or double ball right there and single ball. Apparently you can switch out the shoulder joint to either be that double where it can fold over on itself. And from the side it looks funky, but from the front it looks freaking amazing. And then right here you can change it out for a single ball that doesn't allow the arm to move away from the torso as much. You can switch out the heads and then the face plates inside the helmet or the hair. I was wondering how that was going to work. That's how that works. And then there's an eye gimmick. I don't know quite what this is yet, but I'll get into that when I get into the figure. It looks like maybe the stand hole or the cape hole, and this is different cape pieces. I don't know. Again, I can't read any of this. Probably says something like, hey, stupid, just pull the figure out and figure it out. Okay, there we go. All out of the package and assembled. Getting to the figure itself, looking at it like this, it's very awkward, but we're used to that with the Amazing Yamaguchi line. When they're just in vanilla pose, neutral pose, they just don't look right. They're meant for action poses, and that is no different with Magneto here. He's bulky without being overly bulky. He's the nice bulky that Wolverine is without being the annoying bulky that Venom is. Nice musculature. They've brought Magneto's costume across perfectly with the armband things, the leg band things, the boots, the gloves, whatever the hell those things are. And then the overall paint is very metallic, which fits Magneto perfectly. The red is a deep, not candy, but it's a deep, deep red. And then there's a black wash in all the musculature, in all the grooves, bringing out that extra detail. And then the purple itself, it may have a little bit of shading, but it's got a metallic tint to it. It reflects the light fantastically. It just catches your eye when you look at it. It's one of those figures that you're always looking for something, even though it's color-wise this time around. And then get up to the head, it's the same with the helmet. It's that nice red. It doesn't quite match the body. It seems a little bit brighter, but it still just blends into the overall piece. And then the purple metallic around the edges of it. And then the face itself, just a great sculpt here. Paint on it, it has some wash to it, brings out the grooves in the face. And this, we'll get to the eye gimmick in a minute, but this is one of the nicer ones I've seen. Now right off the bat, you get it together, you get all the cape pieces on, which are a pain in the ass to get those Revoltech joints into the holes in the back. I don't know if the holes are too small, the pegs are too big, something, but you really have to work at it, twisting and pushing and getting them in there. I don't know what the extra holes are for, but these sure as hell aren't coming out anytime soon. Now you get all that cape on there, it's a bunch of heavy plastic and some extra joints. Magneto is back heavy as anything you've ever seen, so he's not going to stand without the included stand. The stand isn't great at holding him up in the air, but it does do a pretty good job of holding him up because he needs it to just stand. But another couple things is that, I don't know, it's a Revoltech. It's got all the articulation of a Revoltech. It just doesn't seem to move like Deadpool, like Spider-Man, like Wolverine. He can't crouch down. And I think it all comes from here. They didn't open it up like they did a bunch of the other figures. It's very closed off. It doesn't come up. It doesn't swing out. So I feel like that hinders a lot, and at the same time you're fighting the cape pieces the whole time. I've gotten used to it as I've done it. It's its own entity. It's almost like playing with an action figure with another action figure hanging off its back. And then it being Revoltech joints, it's the usual downfalls of it. Sometimes if you twist it wrong, it splits and the ball wants to come apart and you just snap it back together. And this, it's not going to do it now, but earlier when I was taking pictures and I tried to swing the arm up, it's very loose and it would swing back down. But it's not going to do it now, so there you go. Going over articulation, I'm going to call joints like this and like this, Revoltech joints, which is essentially everything in the figure. But there's one of those at the top of the neck, as you can see when you pull the head off, it's up in there. Then there's one down at the bottom of the neck, so you can get forward, can look up pretty good. There's an extra cap piece on the back of the helmet that when you come up, it slides up, so you can get nice up for a guy wearing a helmet. Say up one more time. To get the joint turned sideways, you can get nice side to side. Double Revoltech joint in the shoulder, so you can get shift up, shift down. You get nice out all the way up. That turns forward and back, but again, you need to watch when you go to turn that thing. Single joint in the elbow comes all the way up. Single joint in the wrist goes up, goes down. You can get it turned around to go side to side. There's a joint here, let's just take it apart. There's one going down into the torso. The ab piece comes off. You can see it's just a big honking joint right there. Pretty nice range of movement. You can get crunched down, you can arc back. If you get that turned, you can go side, you can go side. The hips, like I was talking about earlier, that's what throw me. You can come all the way up to there, and there is a swivel at the thigh. And that's how you kind of get the leg to go. Well, go. That's how you kind of get the leg to go out if you want to fake it that way. It swivels side to side. And for some reason, this one has a bigger overhang. I don't know if it was like that when I got it out of the package, but it's not as nice a transition as this side where it goes down and it looks like kind of shorts. Single joint in the knee there. And then the kneecap itself is on a tiny joint, same kind of joint. And you can bring it back and the kneecap hides wherever you want to bend it to. Single joint in the ankle, it goes back. When you come forward, sometimes you'll get some crashing right there. You got to kind of shift it back, get it in there, and then it'll go forward. There's forward-facing pin for rocker, and then you have a toe joint that goes up to about right there. And then the cape itself is articulated. It's got 3 of the Revoltech joints right here at the top, and then the outer ones have Revoltech joints in the middle of them. And it's okay. It looks dynamic if you can ignore the fact that there's big ass gaps going into the cape once you open it up and try to spread it out or bend it. If you do get it together and it looks nice, it's just short. It doesn't even reach the ground. It's constantly billowing up. And then on top of that, it's got these shoulder pieces that are kind of on ball joints. You can bring it around, up, out towards the arm more. It has a little bit of movement, but it ends up getting in the way more than anything. The whole thing's okay, but yeah. For accessories, Magneto comes with a set of splayed open hands, and he comes with a set of fists. He also comes with 2 effect pieces. I really like these. They're kind of a swirl to it and then purple electricity into it. It matches the overall scheme nicely. And to use that, the splayed open hands have a hole in it. And you take the post and you ram it into that. Now remember that it doesn't go straight in. It kind of goes back towards the wrist. So I kind of bent that the first time I put it in. Now there is a magnet in there, and then it occurs to me that I don't have a lot of stuff that's metal laying around the desk here, but it is a fairly strong magnet. It snaps on there, and it's kind of tough to pull the metal off. Hell, here's some clippers. They stay on there, and they're fairly heavy. Like the instructions showed, he also comes with an extra set of joints for the shoulder, a single ball, and then there's the double ball. Now I don't know exactly why it has the bigger joints, but it's easy enough to pull this off and bring that out and put the single joint in there. Once you get it back in the body, if you were to leave that, that's as far down as you can get. I think the single joint is for stronger poses up in the air to hold stuff up, because you can't go down any further than that because of the range of the ball joint. That's what the double's for, is to bring the arm down further. Since I don't plan to have him holding up any steel girders or huge metal buildings of any type or Colossus, I'll probably leave these double joints in there just because they work so much nicer. And then finally he comes with an extra head, and it's not so much an extra head as it is another set of options for the head. Now this one came with hair on it. The hair is a nice sculpt. It's kind of flying up. It's looking not evil, but dynamic. And then the face is a more angry face. And to switch that out, you just pull the head off. Be careful when you pull the helmet off. Like I was talking about earlier, it's got this ring. And sometimes when you pull it off, that thing will go flying. And you have to go searching for it. Not that I did it, but just in case. And then you can put the other head on the joint. Now it doesn't have a ring like that, so the hair gets in the way of the up movement here. It's not as nice as the helmet head. But there are also options here. You can pull the face out of this hairpiece, and it's the same thing for the face in the helmet, and you can switch out those and put those in each other. It looks nice either way. It's the same size face on both. It's just one gritting teeth, one's more stoic. And then on top of that, both faces have the eye gimmick. Where'd my little sticky go? Where you can put it in the hole in the back and then move the eye around wherever you want to. He can look left, right, up, down. You can even make it go up and have the white eye look, where it looks like he's just using his power to the full extent. I don't like this as much as the Figmas I've messed with. The stick isn't as secure. It's just kind of a cylinder going in there, so it doesn't really lock in. You're kind of fighting it as you're trying to move the eye. And I'm just super OCD about this, and as hard as it is to manipulate, I'll probably find a position and leave it there, because if it's just slightly off, it's going to drive me nuts for the rest of my life. For comparison, here he is with the Revoltech Wolverine. Wolverine's supposed to be short and stocky. Magneto is taller than him. Almost just as bulky, but more streamlined, if you can call it that. And then here he is with the Revoltech Venom. Everybody knows that I'm not the biggest fan of this Venom. I had to get it out to show how streamlined Magneto actually is. And then if you wanted to get him for your Marvel Legends display, here he is with the Marvel Legends Black Panther. Good size, bigger, bulkier, will look nice in that display. Because at the end of the day, this doesn't seem as Revoltech-y to me. Revoltech-y. I just made that up. It's not as gappy as other figures we've seen. Wolverine's shoulder pads do a good job of hiding the shoulders there. It's the same for Magneto here with those cape pieces. The shoulders and the crotch are the biggest giveaways for the Revoltech line. Yeah, you can see them in the elbows. You can see them in the knees. But for the most part, it's where the limbs come off the torso. And Magneto, the upper part is hidden by the cape. The lower part, they kind of changed to keep it from looking as gappy. He doesn't look nearly as bad in a vanilla pose. It looks awkward. He's kind of bow-legged. His arms won't go down. His arms won't straighten out. But it does look a little bit better than some of the other figures we've seen in the past. But man, that cape it doesn't kill it for me. I'm still okay with it as long as the stand's not falling over or falling out from under it or falling out of the peg. As long as he stays up, I'm good with it. But once the cape starts dragging it down, which it does if the stand starts giving away, that's when I start getting a little bit frustrated with it. Plus, if you look at it from the back, there's balls hanging off with some cape pieces in between it. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the big ass gaps when you try to pose the cape in dynamic poses. So perfect solution would be for somebody to come up with some kind of soft goods cape or some other kind of cape. Leave the shoulder pieces, that way it looks dynamic up over the head. It has the articulation there. But from there down, it flows into like a weighted cloth cape of some kind. Somebody needs to get on that ASAP. Because I think that's my biggest gripe. Otherwise, the figure itself is A minus, the cape D minus. Like I said earlier, it's its own entity. It's its own thing. So I can separate it in my mind where I say, the figure is nice, the cape not so much. I like the posability. I really, really dig the paint. It brings out the sculpt very nicely. I like the eye gimmick. I like the switching faces. The helmet works great. Just that cape. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on Fwoosh.